There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that talking about their dreams is not the same as building them. Many people spend their energy explaining themselves, defending their choices, and seeking approval from people who were never assigned to determine their destiny. But true transformation begins when you stop announcing every move and start investing your energy in becoming. The greatest battles are not fought in public, they are won in private. Every successful life is first built in silence before it is celebrated in the spotlight. Your focus is your greatest asset, and your silence is the shield that protects it. Today, we will discover why focusing on yourself and staying silent is not a sign of weakness, but one of the highest forms of wisdom, discipline, and personal power. Silence is often misunderstood because the world celebrates noise. People assume that the loudest voice is the strongest, the busiest person is the most productive, and the one who constantly speaks about their plans is the one most likely to succeed. But history and experience continue to prove the opposite. The strongest people are not always the ones who speak the most. They are the ones who possess enough confidence to let their actions carry the weight of their character. There is a remarkable strength that develops when a person learns to remain silent while continuing to grow. Many people waste enormous amounts of energy trying to convince others of their value. They explain every decision, defend every dream, and seek validation from people who may never understand their purpose. This habit slowly drains confidence because it places your peace in the hands of other people's opinions. The moment you become dependent on applause, you also become vulnerable to criticism. But when you learn the discipline of silence, you remove your confidence from public opinion and anchor it in personal conviction. Silence is not the absence of words, it is the presence of wisdom. It is the ability to recognize that not every conversation deserves your participation, and not every misunderstanding requires your correction. Some people argue simply because they enjoy conflict. Others criticize because they cannot imagine someone living beyond the limits they have accepted for themselves. If you respond to every negative voice, you give away precious time that could have been invested in becoming better. Every unnecessary argument steals energy from your purpose. Think about a seed buried beneath the soil. While no one sees it, the most important work is taking place. Its roots are stretching deeper, preparing it for future growth. The seed does not announce its progress. It does not demand recognition. It develops quietly until the day arrives when its growth can no longer be hidden. In the same way, your greatest seasons of transformation will often happen where very few people can see them. The unseen work is what prepares you for visible success. People who constantly announce their plans often experience excitement before they have earned achievement. Talking about success can create the temporary feeling of accomplishment without producing real results. But disciplined individuals understand that dreams become reality through consistent effort, not repeated announcements. They spend less time speaking about what they will do and more time doing what must be done. They understand that progress is built one disciplined decision at a time. Silence also protects your vision. Not everyone deserves access to your goals while they are still developing. Every vision begins in a fragile state, much like a young plant that requires protection from harsh conditions. If you expose your dreams to people who operate from fear, doubt, or jealousy, their words can become distractions that weaken your determination. Some people cannot support what they have never experienced. Their limitations become the advice they offer others. This is why wisdom teaches you to be careful about who has access to your dreams. Inner strength is revealed by emotional control. Anyone can react in anger, respond with insults, or attempt to prove themselves during moments of criticism. It takes far greater strength to remain calm when others expect you to lose control. Self-control demonstrates maturity. It shows that your emotions serve you instead of ruling you. When you master your reactions, you become difficult to manipulate because your peace no longer depends on the behavior of others. There will always be people who misunderstand your silence. Some will mistake it for weakness. Others may believe you have nothing to offer. But never confuse being underestimated with being defeated. In many cases, being underestimated becomes an advantage because it allows you to grow without unnecessary attention. While others are busy making assumptions, you are quietly building skills, developing character, and preparing for opportunities they never expected you to receive. A focused person understands that every hour spent proving their worth is an hour not invested in improving it. Imagine two individuals with the same dream. One spends every day explaining why they will succeed. The other spends every day learning, practicing, growing, and improving. Months later, one still has speeches, while the other has results. Results have a language that arguments can never replace. Success settles debates that words never could. Silence also strengthens your ability to listen. People who speak constantly often miss valuable lessons because they are too busy expressing their own opinions. But when you become a careful listener, you gain knowledge from every situation. You begin to notice opportunities others overlook. You recognize patterns in people's behavior. You understand when to move, when to wait, and when to remain patient. Wisdom grows in an environment where listening is valued more than constant speaking. Your journey is unique, and your assignment cannot be fulfilled by comparing yourself with everyone around you. Comparison creates unnecessary pressure because it shifts your focus away from your own development. Silence allows you to disconnect from the endless competition for attention and reconnect with the work that truly matters. Every day becomes an opportunity to become stronger than you were yesterday, instead of trying to impress someone else today. Never underestimate the power of quiet consistency. Small actions repeated faithfully over time create extraordinary outcomes. Reading one chapter every day, improving one skill every week, making one better decision each morning, and maintaining discipline when no one is watching eventually produce a life that speaks for itself. Great achievements are rarely the result of dramatic moments. They are usually built through ordinary acts of discipline performed consistently over many months and years. The world may celebrate noise, but lasting greatness is usually born in silence. Build your character where no audience exists. Strengthen your mind when no one is applauding. Improve your habits when nobody is watching. Continue growing even when recognition has not yet arrived. Eventually, your life will become evidence that true strength never needed to announce itself. The loudest testimony is not found in what you say about yourself, but in what your consistent actions reveal over time. When your character becomes stronger than your words, your silence becomes one of the greatest demonstrations of inner strength. One of the greatest mistakes people make is allowing their attention to become scattered by the opinions, expectations, and approval of others. The moment your life becomes centered on what people think about you, you begin to lose control over who you are becoming. Your destiny was never designed to be directed by the applause of the crowd. It was designed to be shaped by your vision, your discipline, and your willingness to grow every single day. There is a powerful truth that many people discover too late. You cannot build an extraordinary life while constantly looking over your shoulder to see who is watching. Every minute spent trying to impress someone is a minute stolen from improving yourself. Every ounce of energy spent seeking validation is energy that could have been invested in developing your gifts, strengthening your character, and preparing for opportunities that lie ahead. Growth demands focus. It requires you to become so committed to your own development that distractions lose their power over you. The world is full of voices telling you who you should be, how fast you should succeed, what you should own, and how your life should compare to someone else's. If you listen to every voice, you will eventually forget your own. The greatest investment you can ever make is not in convincing others of your value, but in becoming so valuable that your life naturally reflects excellence. Many people spend years chasing acceptance because they believe approval brings happiness. Yet approval is one of the most unstable foundations on which you can build your life. People's opinions change with circumstances. Someone may praise you today and criticize you tomorrow without anything about you changing. If your confidence depends on the opinions of others, then your confidence will rise and fall with every compliment and every criticism. But when your confidence is rooted in personal growth, no opinion has the power to define your future. Imagine a tree planted beside a flowing river. It does not stop growing because people ignore it. It does not grow faster because someone applauds it. Its strength comes from its roots, not from the attention it receives. In the same way, your strength must come from what is happening within you rather than what is being said about you. Deep roots produce lasting fruit, while shallow roots depend on constant recognition. Too many people announce every plan before they have built the discipline to accomplish it. They seek encouragement before they have developed consistency. They celebrate intentions instead of achievements. But real progress happens quietly. Every skill you master, every habit you build, every lesson you learn, and every challenge you overcome adds another layer to your foundation. The stronger your foundation becomes, the less dependent you become on outside approval. Your greatest competition is not another person. It is the person you were yesterday. Every day presents an opportunity to become wiser than you were before, stronger than you were before, and more disciplined than you were before. When you measure yourself against others, you often become discouraged because you are comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. But when you compare yourself to your own potential, every day becomes a chance to improve instead of a reason to complain. Personal growth is not always exciting. There will be days when no one notices your efforts. No one applauds your sacrifices. No one recognizes your discipline. Those are the moments that shape greatness. Anyone can remain committed when people are cheering, but true character is revealed when nobody is watching. Excellence is built in private long before it is displayed in public. There is incredible freedom in releasing the need to explain yourself. You do not owe everyone an explanation for your dreams, your decisions, or your direction. People who cannot see your vision may misunderstand your actions. That is perfectly normal. Not everyone is supposed to understand your journey because not everyone has been given your assignment. Your responsibility is not to gain universal approval, but to remain faithful to the purpose placed before you. When you focus on becoming better instead of becoming popular, your priorities begin to change. You become more interested in learning than arguing. You become more committed to discipline than to appearance. You spend less time proving your worth and more time increasing your worth. This shift transforms your life because growth becomes your lifestyle rather than your occasional goal. Every challenge you overcome teaches resilience. Every failure teaches wisdom if you are willing to learn from it. Every setback becomes preparation for a greater comeback. People who are obsessed with appearances often hide their mistakes because they fear judgment. But people who are committed to growth understand that mistakes are classrooms where experience becomes wisdom. They do not fear failure because they know that every lesson moves them closer to mastery. Your future is shaped by what you consistently give your attention to. If your attention is consumed by criticism, comparison, and approval, your growth will be limited. But if your attention is invested in learning, improving, reading, practicing, thinking, and serving others, your potential will continue expanding. Success is rarely the result of one dramatic moment. More often, it is the result of thousands of quiet decisions made with consistency and purpose. Remember that people celebrate the harvest, but they rarely notice the seasons of planting, watering, and waiting. They admire confidence without seeing the years of preparation behind it. They applaud success without understanding the discipline that made it possible. Do not become discouraged because your progress is invisible to others. The invisible seasons are often producing the strongest roots. When you make your own growth your highest priority, something remarkable begins to happen. You become less offended by criticism because you know who you are becoming. You become less distracted by comparison because you have your own mission to fulfill. You become less dependent on applause because your satisfaction comes from progress, not popularity. And eventually, the very people whose approval you once sought will begin to recognize the strength, wisdom, and excellence that were developed quietly while you stayed focused on becoming the best version of yourself. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that every vision must be shared before it is built. There is something powerful about keeping your purpose protected until it has developed enough strength to stand on its own. Every dream begins as a seed, and no wise farmer digs up a seed every day to show people that it has been planted. Instead, it remains hidden beneath the soil, growing in silence until the day it breaks through the surface. Your vision works in much the same way. It needs time, discipline, patience, and consistent effort, more than it needs applause. Not everyone deserves access to what has been placed inside your heart. People often give opinions based on their own fears, limitations, disappointments, and experiences. Someone who has never climbed a mountain will naturally question why you are preparing for the climb. Someone who has settled for less may criticize your desire for more. If you allow every opinion to influence your direction, you will spend more time defending your dream than developing it. Many great opportunities have been delayed because people sought validation before taking action. They waited until everyone agreed with their plans before moving forward. But success has never depended on unanimous approval. Every significant achievement in history was once considered unrealistic by someone. Vision always appears impossible to those who cannot see beyond their current circumstances. That is why your responsibility is not to convince everyone else. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to the assignment that has been placed before you. There is also a danger in celebrating intentions instead of accomplishments. Talking about what you are going to do can create a false sense of achievement. The excitement of telling others sometimes replaces the discipline required to actually do the work. Your words may receive compliments, but compliments cannot build your future. Only consistent action can do that. Learn to let your effort become louder than your announcements. Every hour you spend explaining your plans is an hour that could have been invested in making those plans a reality. Silence protects your focus. Every conversation you avoid about your next move preserves mental energy that can be invested in learning, practicing, improving, and growing. Your mind was designed to create, not to constantly defend itself against unnecessary criticism. When you remove the pressure of public expectations, you gain the freedom to develop at your own pace. Growth becomes genuine instead of performative. You begin working because you are committed to excellence, not because you are trying to impress an audience. Understand that not every opinion deserves equal value. Some voices inspire wisdom, while others create confusion. Discernment is knowing the difference. Seek counsel from people who have demonstrated integrity, experience, and proven results. But do not invite random spectators to become judges of your destiny. If someone has never built what you are trying to build, be careful about allowing their doubts to become your beliefs. There will always be people who misunderstand your silence. Some will assume you have given up. Others will think you lack ambition because you are not constantly talking about your goals. Let them think what they want. Your responsibility is not to manage everyone's perception. Your responsibility is to manage your progress. The strongest confidence does not need constant recognition because it understands that lasting success is built long before it becomes visible. Remember that pressure often increases when too many people know your plans. Every setback begins to feel like public failure because everyone is watching. But when you quietly continue working, setbacks become private lessons instead of public disappointments. You give yourself room to adjust, improve, learn, and recover without unnecessary distractions. This freedom allows resilience to grow stronger. Your vision is valuable, and valuable things require protection. Just as a treasure is stored in a secure place, your dreams deserve careful stewardship. Protect them from negativity, envy, unnecessary comparisons, and discouraging conversations. Protection does not mean living in fear. It means exercising wisdom. There is a season for planting, a season for growing, and a season for harvesting. Do not confuse these seasons by trying to display fruit before the roots have fully developed. As you continue focusing on your purpose, you will discover that your results become your greatest introduction. People who once questioned your direction will eventually witness your progress without needing an explanation. Opportunities will begin to appear because excellence attracts attention naturally. Doors that words could never open will open because of consistent character, discipline, and proven results. The life you quietly build will eventually speak with greater authority than any speech you could have given about it. Never underestimate the power of quiet preparation. Every skill you develop in private, every disciplined habit you establish, every sacrifice you make when no one is watching is shaping the future you desire. Success is rarely the product of one dramatic moment. It is usually the result of countless silent decisions repeated faithfully over time. Stay committed to your growth. Stay faithful to your vision. Let your work mature in silence. And when the time is right, your life itself will become the evidence that no explanation was ever necessary. There is a remarkable difference between people who constantly announce what they are going to do and those who quietly dedicate themselves to doing it. The world has become filled with noise. Everyone is eager to share their plans, their goals, and their ambitions before they have even taken the first meaningful step. Yet history repeatedly shows that the people who leave the greatest impact are often those who spend more time working than talking. They understand that words can create temporary excitement, but only results create lasting influence. One of the greatest mistakes a person can make is believing that explaining their vision is the same as accomplishing it. Every time you speak about your plans without taking action, you may feel a temporary sense of satisfaction, but nothing in your life has actually changed. Your circumstances do not improve because of what you say. They improve because of what you consistently do. Success has never been attracted by promises alone. It responds to discipline, persistence, and daily effort. There is a unique power in allowing your work to speak for itself. When your results become visible, they remove the need for endless explanations. You no longer have to convince people that you are committed because your actions become undeniable evidence. You no longer need to defend your decisions because the outcome answers every question that critics once asked. Results silence arguments more effectively than debates ever could. Many people waste valuable years trying to prove themselves to individuals who have already decided not to believe in them. They spend countless hours explaining why they made certain choices, why they changed careers, why they ended unhealthy relationships, or why they are pursuing a different direction. The truth is that not everyone deserves an explanation. Some people have already formed opinions that no amount of talking will ever change. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to manage their perception, invest that same energy into building a life that naturally commands respect. Your focus should never be on impressing people with your intentions. It should be on developing the habits that produce extraordinary outcomes. Every day presents an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more disciplined than you were yesterday. Small, consistent improvements may appear insignificant in the moment, but over time, they produce remarkable transformation. The person who quietly improves every single day will eventually outperform the one who constantly seeks attention without putting in the necessary work. Silence protects your momentum. Every goal begins as something fragile. Like a seed planted beneath the soil, it needs time to grow before it can withstand the storms above the ground. If you expose your dreams too early, they may become vulnerable to unnecessary criticism, doubt, and distraction. Some people will discourage you because they cannot see what you see. Others may unintentionally plant fear in your mind through their own limited experiences. Protecting your vision until it has developed strength is an act of wisdom, not secrecy. There is also something deeply satisfying about surprising people with your achievements, instead of informing them about your plans. Imagine the difference between announcing every step of your journey and simply appearing one day with undeniable progress. The first approach seeks validation before success arrives. The second demonstrates confidence because it understands that genuine achievement does not require advance publicity. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many assume confident people are the loudest voices in the room, but true confidence rarely feels the need to advertise itself. It remains focused regardless of whether applause is present. It continues working whether recognition comes today or years from now. It understands that temporary attention is far less valuable than permanent growth. Your life becomes more peaceful when you stop measuring your progress by how many people notice it. External recognition is unpredictable. Some people may applaud you today and criticize you tomorrow. If your motivation depends on their approval, your consistency will disappear whenever their support fades. But when your purpose is rooted in personal growth, your commitment remains steady regardless of public opinion. Remember that excellence has a language everyone understands. It does not need translation, persuasion, or explanation. Excellence introduces itself. Integrity introduces itself. Consistency introduces itself. Character introduces itself. When people witness years of faithful effort producing visible results, respect naturally follows. Even those who doubted you may eventually acknowledge what discipline has accomplished. There will always be individuals who underestimate your potential because they only remember who you used to be. They cannot imagine the person you are becoming because they are looking at yesterday's version of you. Do not allow their outdated perception to become your present reality. Continue growing in silence. Continue learning in silence. Continue building in silence. Your transformation does not require their permission. Every meaningful achievement is built one decision at a time. It is built through mornings when no one is watching, evenings when no one is applauding, and moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. These unseen moments shape the visible victories that others admire. What people celebrate publicly is usually the result of countless private sacrifices that were never witnessed. The strongest testimony of your life will never be your speeches about success. It will be the evidence of a transformed character, disciplined habits, unwavering faith, and consistent action. Let your kindness speak. Let your integrity speak. Let your perseverance speak. Let your wisdom speak. Above all, let your results speak. They possess a credibility that words alone can never achieve. When your life reflects excellence, your success becomes impossible to ignore, and your quiet consistency becomes the loudest message you will ever deliver. Every meaningful achievement begins long before anyone notices it. What the world celebrates is often only the final chapter of a story that was written through months or even years of unseen discipline. People admire confidence, success, influence, and excellence, but they rarely appreciate the private sacrifices that made those things possible. The strongest character is not built in front of an audience. It is built during the quiet moments when no one is watching, no one is applauding, and no one is offering encouragement. That is where greatness is formed. Many people want public recognition without embracing private preparation. They dream of extraordinary results while maintaining ordinary habits. They want respect without responsibility, influence without integrity, and success without sacrifice. Life does not operate that way. Every harvest is determined by the seeds planted long before the season of celebration arrives. If you desire a different future, you must first become a different person behind closed doors. Discipline is not about doing something once when you feel inspired. It is about doing the right thing consistently, even when your emotions suggest otherwise. Feelings change every day. Motivation rises and falls. Excitement comes and goes. But discipline remains faithful to the assignment regardless of emotion. It teaches you to act according to purpose instead of temporary feelings. That is why disciplined people continue moving forward, while others remain trapped in cycles of starting and stopping. The private decisions you make every day eventually become the public life everyone else can see. If you consistently choose learning over entertainment, preparation over procrastination, and responsibility over excuses, your future will reflect those choices. Success is not an accident. It is the visible result of invisible habits repeated faithfully over time. Every disciplined action is like placing one brick on another. One brick may not seem significant, but after enough days of faithful work, an entire building stands where there was once empty ground. One of the greatest dangers in today's world is becoming addicted to appearing productive instead of actually being productive. Some people spend more time talking about what they plan to accomplish than actually accomplishing it. They announce every goal, every idea, and every dream, hoping for applause before the work even begins. But true builders understand that energy spent seeking validation is energy taken away from execution. Real progress happens when your attention stays on the work instead of the audience. Your quiet season is not a punishment, it is preparation. During this season, your patience is tested, your character is refined, your thinking matures, and your abilities develop. While others may overlook you, something valuable is taking place within you. The strongest trees develop deep roots before they produce visible fruit. In the same way, your life requires deep foundations before it can safely carry great success. Without those foundations, even impressive achievements eventually collapse under pressure. There will be moments when no one believes in your vision. Friends may not understand your choices. Family members may question your direction. Some people may even criticize the discipline they secretly lack themselves. Do not allow their opinions to interrupt your preparation. Not everyone has the capacity to recognize what is being built before it is completed. Stay committed to your process even when your progress is invisible. Private discipline also shapes your identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your confidence. Confidence is not created by compliments from others. It grows from proving to yourself that you can be trusted. When you consistently wake up on time, finish what you start, honor your commitments, and refuse to compromise your standards, you begin to respect yourself at a deeper level. Self-respect becomes the foundation of lasting confidence because it is earned through action rather than borrowed from other people's opinions. Understand that every successful person has learned to master small responsibilities before being trusted with greater ones. Excellence is never reserved for special occasions. It is practiced daily in ordinary moments. The way you manage your mornings, your time, your thoughts, your finances, your relationships, and your personal habits reveals the direction of your future. Small disciplines, repeated consistently, always produce extraordinary outcomes. Do not become discouraged because your efforts seem unnoticed. The greatest rewards often arrive after the longest periods of faithful preparation. Just because people cannot see your progress does not mean progress is not happening. Growth often begins beneath the surface. Just as a seed develops underground before breaking through the soil, your transformation is taking place long before others recognize it. Trust the process enough to continue working even when the evidence is not yet visible. Remember that your greatest competition is not another person. Your greatest challenge is becoming better than the person you were yesterday. Every day presents another opportunity to improve your thinking, sharpen your skills, strengthen your character, and deepen your discipline. When you focus on continuous growth instead of constant comparison, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure and begin building a life that is authentic and sustainable. Eventually, the private work becomes impossible to hide. Excellence has a way of revealing itself. Opportunities begin to appear. Doors begin to open. People who once overlooked you begin to notice the quality of your character and the consistency of your results. By then, you will understand that the applause was never the goal. The real victory was becoming the kind of person who could handle success with humility, wisdom, and integrity. Public success may attract attention for a season, but private discipline creates a legacy that endures for generations. Never underestimate the power of what you do in silence, because the habits you build when no one is watching will determine the life everyone eventually sees. Build a life that naturally commands respect instead of constantly asking people to respect you. There is a profound difference between demanding recognition and becoming the kind of person whose character makes recognition inevitable. Many people spend years trying to convince others of their worth. They seek validation through endless conversations, social media posts, and constant explanations. Yet genuine respect has never been created by words alone. It is earned through consistency, discipline, integrity, and the quiet evidence of a life well lived. When you become deeply committed to your own growth, you stop chasing applause. You begin to understand that the opinions of others cannot determine your value because your value was never created by their approval. Too often, people become prisoners of public opinion. They hesitate to pursue their dreams because they fear criticism. They delay important decisions because they are waiting for everyone to agree. But no remarkable achievement has ever been accomplished by someone who needed universal permission. Greatness begins when you accept responsibility for your own future and refuse to let outside voices become louder than your inner conviction. One of the greatest distractions in life is the desire to prove yourself. Every minute spent trying to convince someone who refuses to understand you is a minute stolen from building the future you desire. Instead of proving, improve. Instead of defending, develop. Instead of explaining your vision repeatedly, dedicate yourself to making that vision a reality. Success has a language that requires no translation. When your life begins to reflect excellence, many of the people who once questioned you will no longer need explanations. Your results will answer every doubt that words never could. Silence is often misunderstood because many people associate it with weakness. In reality, silence is frequently the evidence of confidence. A person who truly knows where they are going does not feel obligated to announce every step of the journey. They understand that seeds grow underground long before anyone sees the harvest. Imagine a tree. Before it reaches toward the sky with magnificent branches, it spends years developing roots beneath the surface where nobody applauds the process. The hidden work determines the visible success. Your private discipline will always shape your public influence. There is tremendous power in becoming less concerned with being noticed and more committed to becoming valuable. Value attracts attention naturally. Excellence introduces itself without making noise. A skilled craftsman does not need to advertise every hammer strike because the finished masterpiece speaks for itself. Likewise, your life should become your greatest testimony. Let your habits reveal your priorities. Let your consistency reveal your commitment. Let your integrity reveal your character. These are qualities that cannot be manufactured overnight, but they create respect that lasts far longer than temporary popularity. People often underestimate the importance of self-mastery. Before you can lead others, you must first learn to lead yourself. Before you can influence the world, you must first gain authority over your own thoughts, emotions, and daily choices. The strongest person in any room is not always the loudest. Often, it is the individual who has learned to control anger, resist temptation, remain humble during success, and stay focused during adversity. Self-control is one of the highest expressions of strength because it demonstrates that external circumstances no longer dictate internal stability. There will always be people who misunderstand your silence. Some will assume you have failed simply because you stopped announcing your progress. Others may think you have become distant because you no longer participate in unnecessary arguments or competitions. Do not allow these misunderstandings to pull you away from your purpose. Every season of growth requires separation from distractions. Every meaningful accomplishment demands concentrated attention. If you constantly stop to answer every critic, you will never have enough time to complete your assignment. One of the wisest decisions you can make is to become selective about where your energy goes. Energy is one of life's greatest resources. Once it is wasted, it cannot be recovered. Every unnecessary conflict drains it. Every meaningless debate consumes it. Every attempt to satisfy impossible expectations weakens it. Instead, direct your energy toward learning new skills, strengthening your character, improving your health, expanding your knowledge, and fulfilling your responsibilities with excellence. These investments may not attract immediate attention, but they create lasting transformation. Respect grows wherever consistency exists. Many people start strong but lose momentum because they become addicted to immediate recognition. They expect applause before they have developed endurance. Yet lasting success belongs to those who remain faithful even when nobody is watching. Continue showing up, continue improving, continue learning, continue building. Every disciplined decision compounds over time until the difference between you and those who quit becomes impossible to ignore. Never confuse visibility with significance. A person may be widely known and still have little impact, while another may quietly transform countless lives without seeking attention. The goal should never be to become famous. The goal should be to become faithful to your purpose. Influence built on character always outlasts influence built on popularity. Trends fade, applause disappears, but integrity continues producing opportunities long after excitement has passed. As you continue your journey, remember that your greatest competition is not another person. Your greatest challenge is becoming a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. Every day presents an opportunity to grow wiser, stronger, more disciplined, and more compassionate. Measure your progress against your own potential, not against someone else's achievements. Comparison breeds frustration, but personal growth produces fulfillment. The most inspiring people are rarely those who constantly tell others how extraordinary they are. They are the ones whose lives quietly demonstrate extraordinary discipline, unwavering faithfulness, genuine humility, and relentless commitment to excellence. When people encounter such a life, respect arises naturally because authenticity cannot be imitated for long. Focus on becoming so grounded in purpose that distractions lose their attraction. Become so committed to excellence that excuses no longer have a place in your thinking. Become so disciplined in private that success in public becomes a natural consequence rather than an accidental event. Let your actions carry the weight that your words no longer need to carry. Build your character one decision at a time, your future one day at a time, and your legacy one faithful step at a time. When your life reflects wisdom, discipline, integrity, and consistent growth, respect will not have to be requested. It will arrive naturally because a life built on purpose always speaks louder than 1,000 speeches.